Theophilus Ilama joining me this morning. It's good to see you, Theophilus.
Good morning. It's good to be here this morning.
Absolutely. It's a public holiday, and I believe that our viewers are having some time of rest as they listen to us. But we have an array of issues we will be discussing this morning. Developments coming out of Edo State is one of them, as well as how things are panning out in Ondo State as we count down to the primaries that will be coming up later this month. And then we're also looking at the launch of multi-purpose national ID cards that the federal government has talked about, so that that can enhance financial inclusion. But this morning we will begin with this story that has to do with the former CBN governor, where Justice Rahman Oshodi of Lagos State Special Offences Court sitting in Ikeja has remanded former governor of the Central Bank, Godwin Emefiele, and one Henry Isioma-Omole after their arraignment for alleged corruption. Kemi Foladiemo has details.
Godwin Emefiele is back in Lagos to answer to criminal charges. Unlike the earlier charges of alleged illegal possession of firearms which the federal government brought against him in the state and were later withdrawn, this time the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, prosecuting the case at the Lagos State Special Offences Court, told Justice Rahman Oshodi that it was ready to open its case against the defendants. The former CBN governor pleaded not guilty to 23 counts of alleged abuse of office by allocating forex without bids to individuals and entities, illegally accepting gratification, corrupt demands, fraudulent receipt of property, and converting corrupt advantage, while Isioma-Omole pleaded not guilty to 3 counts of accepting gifts of $310,000 for Mr. Emefiele as reward for the illegal allocation of foreign exchange. The alleged fraud sum, which amounts to more than $4.5 billion and 2.8 billion naira, is said to be punishable under the Lagos criminal laws, as well as the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act. After the arraignment, the EFCC counsel, Rotimi Oyedepo, SAN, requested for a date for their witnesses to give evidence, saying some of them were exhibiting fears ahead of the trial and so would need to give their testimonies in camera so as to protect their identity. Defense counsel Abdul Hakim Labilawal also urged the court to grant the defendants bail on self-recognizance or on liberal terms pending the determination of the case. He says Mr. Emefiele was already enjoying and complying with bail conditions granted by an Abuja High Court in another charge and was due to be arraigned in a fresh trial in Abuja next week. The EFCC didn't oppose the bail applications but urged the court to exercise its discretion judiciously. The judge ordered that Mr. Emefiele be remanded at the EFCC custody and for the co-defendants to be remanded at the Ikoyi custodial facility until the next adjourned date, April the 11th, for ruling on the bail applications and for further hearing. Kemi Foladiemo, TVC News, Lagos.
Right. The many issues surrounding this matter for Godwin Emefiele. He has been remanded in custody because of this matter, abuse of office, and also that he also got some monies, $5.5 billion and 2.8 billion naira fraud is part of some of the things that he's been remanded and tried for as it is. But I believe this is a lesson for public office holders to understand that as much as possible, whatever you do, the law is still the law, and that one day it might come back to hold you to account for some of the things you have done.
Well, the statement, power is transient, holds sway here. Of course, when you're in power, the onus is on you to do the will of the people, do what is necessary and morally right.
In their best interest?
Yes, to ensure everything is in the best interest of the people. In the case of Godwin Emefiele, many people will never forget the fact that, I think last year or so, you have money in your account, but you could not access it.
2 years ago, actually.
2 years ago, yes. So many people will never forget that. And we understand that, yes, he was trying to get ensure that Nigerians have, there's some form of financial inclusion whereby people can open bank accounts and we can transfer rather than holding cash, understandably so. But it's caused a lot of problems for many Nigerians, and so many will never forget the situation and what they went through, because there are places where you go to, you only have to use cash rather than transfer or buy. And we still had issues with transfers, with using the point-of-sale machines and all of that. So many people will never forget that. And so many felt that he was trying to do a lot of damage to the economy. And of course, Nigerians were not happy with that. But like we have said earlier, it's important that as you get into power or whatever, at whatever level, you ensure that by the time you're leaving on a clean slate. Let people understand and see that you've done well, and so you can go. Now, he's facing these troubles. He's going to be in court by next week in Abuja. He's in Lagos and all of that, moving from court to court and going to trial and all of that. It's quite an embarrassing situation for him, being a former CBN governor. But like we have said now, power is transient, and we ought to hold it.
Absolutely. But the other matter on the lips of some Nigerians is the fact that could he have acted alone? That's the question that
but he has to prove. If he has not acted alone,
have been asking. Yeah. So the investigations carried out, what do we know? We know that details haven't been put out there for Nigerians to know. But as we hold him to account, then perhaps he needs to begin to speak about who were those who are complicit, who were part of some of the dealings that he had at the CBN, because he couldn't have made some of these decisions alone. We have a board, we have people, it's a chain of command. You could not have just taken certain decisions on your own just like that.
The buck stops at his table.
Of course, the buck stops at his table, but certain persons approved some things before he got to his table.
And he got to his table for his own approval.
Absolutely. So who were those? So it's a chain of command. I agree with you that he was the CBN governor, but then there are others. There are some things, even if as a leader, you can't do things alone. Yes, the buck stops. So would we hold the president for everything that goes wrong security-wise?
The thing is this, that, for instance, this $4.5 billion
there are people you put at the helm of affairs
definitely
to handle some things.
He has to, if there's been fraud in his administration as CBN governor, and he wasn't complicit, he wasn't involved in it, he has to show proof. He has gone to the court. The court will not depend on hearsay or word of mouth. Show proof that you were not involved in this case, I will let you go.
Right.
But so far...
So invariably what you are saying is that perhaps he's covering up for some people, or he's just decided to answer to this case
whatever he's
on his own.
To answer for this is up to him.
On his own,
It's up to him at this point. But if he has to prove, show that he was not complicit in all of this, he has to show proof. And if he doesn't have proof, then...
He's on his own.
Yeah.
All right, we will leave the conversation here now. Let's quickly bring you the news update. The Sultan of Sokoto